Everybody. It is early on a Saturday morning. It's 10 a.m. That's before my wake up time. Not really. While we're waiting for Jill to join, I am doing all of the tech stuff. So bear with me, or us, as the case may be. Let's make sure we are streaming to multiple platforms right now. Yay! I think it's working. And Jill's here. So apparently 10 a.m. Hello.
Hello.
Apparently 10 a.m. On a Saturday is the best time to stream.
Oh.
I had no problems.
Oh. That's not at all what I thought you were going to say.
Change markers. Okay. So here we are.
Oh, yeah. And everything's already popped up real fast.
Yeah. So when we're doing this on Tuesdays, now we know. So I guess we should see what the auction is doing.
Yes. Definitely.
And I think I figured out the screen sharing thing, but it doesn't make sense. The multiple screens, it doesn't make sense if you don't have two screens.
Say that again.
So with multiple screens on Zoom, it doesn't make sense for us to do it because you need to have two screens. Like you have to enable this dual screen thing. So I was like, yeah, won't worry about it.
Gotcha.
So anyway,
well,
we can
that's
switch
a
back and forth.
bummer, but at least we know what happened.
No big deal. People do love to see our beautiful faces. I woke up like this, literally.
I quickly got up and took a shower, and I'm still a wet dog. And here we are.
At least you bathed.
Yeah, at least I'm not stinking. Not that you guys could tell if I was anyways. Now I'm trying to get into that auction. Where is it?
Uh-oh.
Well, it says I'm approved. It's just told me I'm approved to bid on it. Read more. But now it's giving me tomorrow's calendar. So annoying.
Yes. Oh, the first day. So I'm looking at I did not register to bid.
Yeah, so right now it's probably showing you tomorrow's because it's a 2-day auction. Okay, there's the 2-day auction.
Oh, the other one is April Antiques, right?
The other one is what?
It's called April Antiques and Art 2-day.
This one's the one that's Russum's Furniture Auctioneers. Okay, so I'm back at that. It says I'm approved to bid. Where's the whole enter the live auction?
Did you look at the wrong one? I see April 6th, 2 p.m. April 7th
This is the one that you sent me.
Yeah, I know. And when I'm looking, I followed my link. And what I'm looking
I followed your link too. Hold on. Hold on. Does your link now go somewhere else? Hold on.
You want me to share my screen?
Yeah. I can do that. Yeah, what are you looking at?
So because I am not registered, this is what I see when I go to the link.
Yep.
See this one, April 6th.
No, I was looking at the top one, 2-day.
April
and it
7th.
started today. Half of it's online, half of it's in person. And that top one has the quilt in it.
And that is April 7th?
But it's a 2-day auction. So half of it's online. So it should have been today. Half of it was today and half was supposed to be tomorrow. And now I'm not even seeing a thing for like enter. Go get into it and read about it. Um, I gotta like unfull
Oh
screen.
gosh, they write in all capital letters. Let's see. Bidding on day 2 will be both live and online. First day will consist of the first 314 lots. So
That should
the
be right
quilts are,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's, oh, well, I opened the other ones. Let me
Yeah,
open
because see, it
this
says
one.
April 6th and
Yeah,
7th.
see, I can't open this one.
I can't either. That's why
Oh,
that's not the one you were looking at before.
yeah. Ugh. Well, see,
Like,
but then see, look, this over here,
hmm.
today is the 6th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This says 2 p.m. Eastern,
But what's the 10 a.m. up top?
April 7th.
It said that yesterday.
But today is April 6th.
I know it said April 6th, 10 a.m.
I
I'm
don't know
not
what to
even
tell you.
kidding.
I don't know what to tell you.
So wait, where are you? Hold on. I've got 700 screens going at once here. Uh, okay, where are you looking?
Right
Show me
here.
that again.
Can you see this? When I highlight it, does it show up?
No, that says that's tomorrow though.
Right, I know. And then today. Is this the stuff for today?
Keep going. Why did they call it two different things? Yesterday the top said it's April 6th, 10 a.m.
But see, the weird thing to me is that it's like they're backwards. So this bottom one is today and this top, and I'm wondering.
Well, and they're calling it two different things.
This is April and this one says antiques.
Yeah, it looks like two completely different sales.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it was like this and you read this one as today.
Yeah, because it looks like it's two totally different things.
Well, I guess we may have to come back at 2.
I guess we do. I guess we do. Hold on one
That'd help
second.
me in getting my taxes done today. But yeah, I guess we could look at the quilts, couldn't we?
You could definitely do that.
Oh,
Um,
goodness.
yeah, so
Oh.
when I go into, because remember, I'm registered for this. When
Hmm.
I go into my auctions, it only shows me that thing that says antiques and art 2-day auction live and online.
Weird, because I can see search upcoming search upcoming auctions.
But these are auctions I'm registered for. It's not showing me as registered
Right.
for that bottom thing.
Yeah. Past auctions. That's just reviews.
That's so obnoxious.
So you can't look at items because you don't have that one that I have because I'm not registered. Wow. So let's look at the quilts. Can we look at the quilts? Because I'm looking at these prices. I'm like, oh man. So let me go back here for a second. So look at this other stuff, this art. We've got a dovetailed blanket chest. That's like Pennsylvania Dutch, I think, right?
Blanket
I could
chests
I
are
could be
plentiful.
wrong, but these things, these big medallions, well, let me go in here. I mean, it's got the heart, it's got these medallions, $10. And this is what I see in auctions a lot is that you've got all this like gorgeous furniture. People don't want the furniture. I've seen like really beautiful pieces of furniture go for like less than $100.
Well, just because it's $10 now.
Well, I realize that. I understand that.
Because there's definitely
Headlights,
some, if I live nearby, there's definitely
$30.
some furniture I would buy.
Yeah. Oh, but then I guess look at these things. Salt glazed decorated stoneware, 450.
Those things,
Whatever.
those people go bananas for
Oh,
those.
I know. You know, my grandmother, when my grandparents' house was like liquidated, she had this one. It had a narrow top, but it was probably 25 gallons, maybe. And I kept telling my aunt and uncle, I was like, this is worth a lot of money. So, like, don't just send it to the Goodwill, please.
You can even
Whatever
at the
these
top,
things
you can
are.
even sort by like what's going for the highest price right now.
Oh.
See, look, this other thing, pair of antique
Oh, whoops,
English
wait a minute. I think
quality.
I got rid of I got rid of Russell's. Okay.
Yeah, the silver
So,
bowls there, 2,700 already.
yeah. Wow. Hmm. So where's the sort? Oh, here we go. Sort by price highest. Okay, so this happened to be the highest thing.
Hmm.
Oh, but look at this mid-century modern thing. And The Federalist by Alexander Hamilton.
You
Those
think they'll sing
Crocs.
it while they read it?
Something tells me no. Oh, that's a pretty charm bracelet. Okay, well, we have some idea. Let's see where are the quilts clocking in? All right, this one is a snail trail. I looked at this one earlier, I think. Look at it. Oh,
Yeah, I really like that. And
I
it's
do
already up
too.
to 170.
Yeah. See, I mean, this is what tells me like how an auction's gonna go is like what are the pre-bids? 26 people are watching it and it's already at 170. What is
The
gonna
one thing I
happen?
am not pleased with this site is their like zoom functions on their pictures are not, it's not good. I don't like, it's not good.
Okay, here's another. Oh, a princess feather. Oh, that's really pretty. Yeah, you're right. The zoom function's kind of meh.
Yeah, it doesn't
That
let
is
you get
some,
very close and not very, it's not
yeah.
very good.
But they do have some good pictures in here, I think. Wow, look at this applique.
Mm-hmm.
All those little, I mean, the princess feathers are like all kinds of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, oh, hi, Plot Quilt. Is this Patty?
Yep.
Plug is your friend Patty? Yeah. Hi, a solo retreat.
It's
Hi, love
probably
it.
instead of plog quilt, it's probably P-log quilt. Patty lives in a log cabin house.
Well, I love you, Patty, but I like calling you Plog. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so a solar retreat sounds wonderful. And yeah, so you get to listen to us having hijinks here, not knowing what we're doing.
Because we don't even know
Um,
what we're doing. I got up
so
early to not even know what I'm doing.
yeah, I got up early for this. Well, the back of it. I've got some decent pictures. So you can see like what the quilting looks like and everything. Oh, look,
Oh,
there's the
all of the quilts have that.
well, yeah, but the fact that they have it,
Yeah, yeah.
you know. So there were this Teresa McLaverty Hall, born 1855. Wow. And I think what a number of these quilts are by her, right? Yeah, Teresa
Um,
McLaverty and
I think it's
was
like all in the same family. I don't think it's her though. It's another woman. She's one of the ladies in the family line. Um, no, there's some other ones that were by someone else too. But it's all from the same estate as I understand it. Are you frozen, Steph? Oh no. What happened to Stephanie? What happened to you?
my internet totally went down.
Oh,
So, yeah, this is the wonderful thing about quick connections on a Saturday morning. And then the internet's like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it for it to be that way. Let me shut down for a second and scare you.
yeah, I was like, oh
Okay.
no, what am I doing? I'm all by myself.
Am I still streaming? Okay. Yeah, it's still showing us live. Okay. Everything's still, yeah. Hey, Quilt Alive. All right. So I guess I have to go back to screen sharing if we're going to look at these quilts.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, wait a minute. Let me switch over here. So yeah, I was like,
Wow.
what is going on? Why is nothing working?
Well, at first I'm like talking and then you're not answering me, and I'm thinking, what a jerk.
Well, I mean, was
No,
I
and then
frozen?
I looked up and realized you weren't even moving. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm back, right?
Yeah.
This is very
Right.
pretty. I
This one's
really,
really pretty.
I like the simplicity of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because you know that these sunbursts or whatever we want to call them, compass sunbursts, whatever, those are pretty complex.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like the way that she has balanced this with this sort of two colored dealio here. It's nice.
Dealio.
Well, I guess it's a vine with some little leafy. Oh, that's some beautiful quilting too. Look, we got that double diamond thing going on up here, and then we have just a regular crosshatch there. Looks like some feathers,
Mm-hmm.
feather wreath. And oh, this is Teresa McClaverty. The other woman, I'm curious, she must be later because her quilts look younger or newer. What would you call a newer quilt? A younger quilt? Oh, yowza, look at this. So they
I
were
knew.
calling this a rose.
I figured you'd like that one.
Yeah, they're calling this a Rose of Sharon. I'm sorry, friends. This is kind of like a cross between a Rose of Sharon and like a Whig Rose or a Democrat Rose. Wouldn't you say?
From this particular angle, the flowers look like over easy eggs.
Well, and you know, that's the interesting thing is like I think both of those flowers and this one in the middle are kind of a Rose of Sharon shape.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, they do look like eggs.
Well, it's funny, like again, because the picture quality is kind of crappy for
Yeah, when you
production
zoom
site.
in, this one's a little better.
So what do you think? Do you think those flowers are a faded, or do you think it's like a very light?
Um, I don't know. Let's see if do they have one. They have that up close. Let's see if they have that one.
This one also has really nice quilting. I'm
Um,
thinking it's probably a pink or something that faded.
yeah, I think it was a lighter pink. Like I think this pink, and then like I don't know, this might have been like a pink or an ivory. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it must have been a lighter pink.
It's totally an
Hmm.
over easy egg man.
So, oh, Alice Eva Hall Backman. For a second, I glanced up and I was like, Brackman?
I thought the same thing.
Look at that. I just, you know, it's funny. I like looking at the backs of quilts now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
these older, nicely kind of densely quilted ones, because you can really see what's going on, you know, when you look
Mm-hmm.
at the back. And I get that. I'm trying to think. I was reading, oh, it was Florence Petto, one of her chapters, and she was talking about there was this sort of theme for a while where the white on white quilts were a big deal, or the counterpanes, and women would flip their quilts and only show the backside, you know, on the bed. So doesn't have a date for her.
I don't think any of those have a date.
Well, no, but the woman, the other woman, Teresa, whatever her name was, she had a birth date,
Oh, I thought you
1855.
meant a quilt date.
Yeah, no, no, no. They're just to know what era. And I mean, this would have to be what, late 1800s, I would guess, because unless the solid colors are telling you something different. Um, because this was popular in like the what,
Mm-hmm.
1880s, 1890s. All right, let's see what else is
Hello,
here.
Eva.
Eva, you know, I didn't even tell Druid we were doing this because it was kind of late last night when we got this together. I feel bad. So Agnes Hangley O'Meara. So this we know, or well, I know, and you know, is a kit quilt. Yes.
Mm-hmm. There's actually two of those. The same
Oh, are there?
pattern.
Okay. Oh, okay. So this is the pansy. And do you know anything about this pattern?
I do not. I actually don't even. I've never even come across this particular one, and I love me some pansies.
Yeah,
But
this
yeah,
one's
there's
really
another one.
pretty.
This one has the the scalloped edge. The other one is a total straight edge, and I've never even seen that.
Huh. Well, I love a scalloped edge, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this one's so colorful, so pretty. Um, and
This one is a
so
little
these,
more The other one that's not scalloped is a little, like, just a hair more vibrant.
Okay, let's see. We don't have, yeah, she doesn't have a birth dates or anything for this woman.
And wow, that one's already up to 100. It was like nothing yesterday.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's when you get the quilt previews or the auction previews and you get a little excited and you're like, I might actually get this. And then you come back the day of the auction and you're like, I'm definitely not getting this. So now this one, quilt by Bessie Brown, African American housekeeper. What I do know about some of the quilts in this auction is that they were donated by somebody who lives in Maryland who is downsizing. And these quilts, if I remember her description, Bessie Brown was her family's housekeeper as she was growing up. And this is one of the quilts that Bessie made. So, I mean, I think that's cool to have the provenance, that this was made by an African American woman. And I would guess, well, looks like, oh, you know what? She's got this thing here, or they have this thing here. Oh, look at these prints.
I
Oh my
know. I
gosh.
really like this quilt.
Oh, so cute. I hadn't looked at these in detail. I did see this quilt, but I hadn't looked at it in detail. Okay, so African American housekeeper of Alice Eva Hall Backman. Okay, so the woman who made that other quilt. This was rescued from the trash. That's right, after Bessie's death, because her family was like, these aren't worth anything, so they were throwing them out. Bessie lived in Paterson, New Jersey. What does it say? She had an amazing eye for color and design, better than any woman I know. Presented to Alice Eva Hall Backman and her husband on their wedding anniversary. Left to Terry O'Meara. Okay, so I think Terry O'Meara, if I remember correctly, is the woman that donated or put these in the auction.
And isn't she the one, wasn't one of the other quilts made by her?
Not Terry O'Meara, Alice Eva Hall Backman.
No, wasn't there another woman named Terry?
Teresa.
Oh, Teresa.
Mhm. Let's look at this again. This is so pretty. I love this. Ah! I can't zoom in like that.
I know, isn't it annoying? The other thing to note too, if you go on like the like just the generic listing page, the listing, all of the quilts are estimated between $10 and $100.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
All of them. We're gonna school these guys.
So I wonder if surely they know better, right? I mean, surely an auction house knows what quilts are going for. Oh.
Well, do they? Oh, because quite a few of them are already up over $100. This one alone is at 90. And
I really love this quilt, Jill. I mean, if you happen to buy it,
if I happen to buy it, you'll gladly take it for your birthday.
yeah. Now look at this thing. And I do look at quite a few auctions, and the weird other things you see are like, what is that? Why did somebody have it? Maybe I should buy it.
I remember I told you this auction has a quilt frame in it, an antique quilt frame.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, you told me. I think I remember the auction number, so we can look that up. So this is just, I guess, a trip around the world. And this is by Bessie Brown too. I like this. I like how some of the rounds are scrappy. I guess this round right here, like this section.
Look at that cheddar orange too.
This is the same story on here. Oh, yeah, these are really cool fabrics. What is this one? It's at 80. 48 bidders are watching it. See, that's the thing. When you see that, you're like, ah.
Well, there are those people that just watch auctions.
Yes, and I do that too. I often will watch things just to see what they come in at.
Well, that and like example on eBay. When I'm farting around on eBay, I just follow everything that I like. Even if I never have any intention of actually buying it, just out of curiosity.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? This fabric, that greenish fabric with the sort of red, I have something like that, and it's not quilt fabric or fabric
Hmm.
like that. It is a tablecloth.
Oh,
Oh, they don't have any close-ups of it. Hmm. Hmm. The back of it look like. Oh. Oh, I like this backing fabric. I wonder what that if she bought that as just yardage or if it's something recycled. Hmm.
you know what's annoying? Go back to the general listing for this quilt.
Okay.
This also says at the top there, April 7th now.
Hmm.
See
Does
that?
it where
Like
is the lot number on the oh here it is up here. Well see, so this is
470.
a later yeah, this is a later lot. Dang. They really tricked us, didn't they?
But the originally when it was all listed, it started at 400.
Huh.
Like the lots always started at 400.
Yeah. I like the edge on this one. Look at that.
Yeah, it almost tripped me up at first. I was like, oh, prairie points. And then I'm like, oh, wait, never mind. Like,
Hmm.
it's still cool, but it's not prairie points.
Yeah, I mean it's just a 9 patch set on point, but how pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they'd gotten some of the yellow down here to sort
Binding
of,
that must have been
huh?
ridiculous.
Let's see, let's look at that closer. Oh, what pretty fabrics. On the back of it. Okay, well, I guess this is maybe as close as we're going to get to the binding. Is it back to front binding?
Oh my goodness, I don't even know. Their descriptions are not. No, it looks like it's maybe it's a separate binding.
It's a separate binding.
That's what it
It
looks
looks like
like.
it's some places it looks like machine too. Yeah,
They
that's a
they have no. Did you look at the description? There's no descriptions.
oh goodness. I think Settlersville is on the eastern shore, I think. Hmm. Yeah, that I guess that is a applied binding. Hmm. Agnes O'Meara. Okay, I know the next one is a Bessie Brown quilt. She likes these crossy shapes, cross the block sort of things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, look at this plaid, that plaid. Ah, we love a plaid. Oh, and there's paisleys. Now those really remind me of like 1950s, 1960s prints. Oh, look at that. I love that print. And now this has got like a nice wide binding. I feel like we don't see those big wide bindings very much. And except in later quilts, right? You know, they were doing wide
Mm-hmm.
bindings in the 80s, right? Oh, what is this backing? Print. Oh, okay. So that's the binding. So that must have been a back to front unless she cut. Yeah, that looks like a back to front binding, right?
I'm
It's folded
currently
over.
reading something.
Hmm?
I'm currently reading something.
Oh.
I'm trying to read more about this stupid auction.
See, I think that this is starting at 2. I just think that the times got butterfly with signatures. I think I
Well,
saw
it's
this one the
interesting
other
if you
day.
go down to like the auction details that I'm on a different page, it gives you preview hours, then it gives you pickup hours, but that's all. Um,
Oh,
because
you
if you're
guys. Oh my gosh. This quilt is amazing. Now it looks like the butterflies are, it's hard to tell. Those look like satin stitched in a sewing machine. Yeah.
those are really
Uh,
cool.
yeah, that seems too
They're very
dense to be.
different. They're probably some of the most realistic looking butterflies I've ever seen.
Yeah, this seems like something somebody maybe drafted on their own. Could be, or maybe it's a pattern, but Oh gosh, look at the names. Blanche Crumbie, Grandma Elliot. I love this. Um, so I'm guessing this is maybe not particularly old. Well, I don't know. I mean, I've seen
Third, I
that.
mean, I'm gonna guess maybe 30s or 40s.
You really
Maybe
think it's that
even
old? See, I was gonna say
it's
50s.
hard to tell without being able to really see some of the fabrics
Yeah,
because
but I'm just thinking with the satin stitch on the sewing machine, I feel like when we see that, those are newer quilts that tend to do that, even though, I mean, I know they had the technology, I know they had like sewing machines could do that, but um,
well, that and
Nellie
their descriptions and
Surratt.
everything aren't necessarily fantastic.
Mhm. What is this? Patty Ash? Well, that's an interesting spelling. It only has one
I
T.
mean, Blanche Crumpy is
Oh, here's
not a
another
super
Patty.
modern name.
Look at this one. I guess that's a P, right? Or maybe that's a D. I don't know. It looks like Patye. Margie. There's a Margie. Blanche Crumbie might be my favorite new name. Oh my gosh. The ice cream cone border. I think you're the one that taught me that.
Maybe.
Ah, I just love this quilt. This is a great quilt. And the quilting is not, I mean, it you can tell from the front what it is. They didn't do any quilting around the butterflies. Unknown maker, not known how it came into the family. Well, I mean, it could be a charity quilt. That could be how it came into the family. Let's see if we can see these names better. No.
So wait a minute. Day one auction bidding will be on highbid.com only.
Oh,
Hold
I know
on.
Hybid.
Keep doing what you're doing. Let me
Okay.
investigate.
Okay. I do know Hybid. I have an account there. I don't have an account with Live Auctioneers, I don't think. At least it didn't prompt me to log in when I got here. Oh, Ocean Waves. This one's pretty. I like these colors. Oh, yeah, that's really pretty. I'm just a sucker for these like mid 20th century prints, I guess 30s to 60s.
I can't believe that you didn't peruse this auction more.
Because I knew you would, and I was like, I cannot be tempted by this auction. Because given the time, I would talk myself into registering and then been like, one quilt, just one quilt.
Well, the only
And they,
thing that stinks though is that the buyer's premium is 20%.
mm, yeah. My local auction house, it's 18%. And
In person too?
no, it's cheaper in person. I think it's like 15 or something in person. But yeah, I always go and pay cash so I can get the cheapest price possible. I guess the auction house doesn't mind, right? They give you that cash break because they don't have
Well,
to
the
pay the
one
credit
reason
card
why
fees
it's
and
more
stuff.
money online is they also have to give money to
Oh,
whatever.
right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Um, but that's what I'm saying. Like if they don't have to pay those fees, they're happy to
Yeah.
cut you a
Oh, yeah,
break
yeah.
because they end up whole, I guess, quote unquote whole in the end. Oh, I wish these pictures were a little bit more detailed, a little bit higher quality because these fabrics are so great. This one's not too bad. Yeah. Double wedding ring. So pretty. And only $40 right now. That could change though. There's 15 bidders watching.
Someone's doing some trolling.
Uh-oh. Who's trolling?
The usual troll.
Oh, can you explain the
Eva
20%
said, "Can
comment?
you explain the 20% comment?"
Yeah, so the a buyer's premium. It's so when auction house often they're not just going out and buying things to auction, they are taking things on like spec. So for instance, the woman that sent these quilts to them, I haven't counted, but just say it's 10 quilts, the auction price, she gets that auction price. So like that's hers. But the auction house has to make some money. And so they make their money off these buyer's premiums. So whatever the auction price is, then this 20% buyer's premium, the winner has to pay on top of, so say you win this quilt for $100, then you've got this 20% buyer's premium that you have to pay on top of that. And that goes to the auction house, and that's how they make their money. And then on top of that, if you don't live near the auction house, then you have to pay for shipping if they ship. Most of these antique places do, unless it's furniture. So yeah, that's the, I guess the downside of buying from auctions is you have to watch out for that buyer's premium, because if you budget, say $100 to buy a quilt, you have to know that 20% or 18% or 15%, whatever it is going to be on top. Yes, and sales tax. Hey, Quiltish. Sales tax is the other thing that they'll charge you, if, I guess, depending. Well, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I guess I have bought from a few auction houses out of town, and I guess I didn't pay taxes because I'm not in that state, I guess. And I think that's part of your registration when you register for these online things, is am I right, Jill? Like
Say that again.
kind of, if you register, when you register on these online things, it's taking into consideration where you live, right? Like it's clocking that. And so if you were in Maryland and you won one of these, it would automatically charge you tax, right? Like,
oh yeah, if it's in the same state, yeah.
Yeah. So, but they're not going to charge you because you're in Massachusetts. They wouldn't charge you sales tax on this.
Even if, I mean, so for a lot of these, I could upload also my tax ID. So even if I was in state, I wouldn't get charged tax. So I'm looking through, and these auction items are different.
Oh, on Hybid?
Yep.
Are there quilts?
I've seen one, but it looks modern. There's a couple samplers.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't look live like the ticking, you know?
Gotcha.
It's just like they release everything at once.
Gotcha.
Is what it. Oh no, wait, hold on.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm not used to Hybid. But maybe they do release
Hybid.
it.
Yeah, so I have been on Hybid auctions, and they do, like, at the time they just start rolling through.
Yeah, actually, because I can see a countdown on each item, and the countdown on each item is different.
Yeah. So Log Cabin Girl, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you found us. So the PhD program that Mary Fons was accepted to is the one at is it Texas Tech?
She's
it's in Austin.
Isn't she UT Austin?
University of Texas. University of Texas at Austin. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's UT Austin.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So University of Texas at Austin. And yeah, she has not posted any updates that we know of recently. I mean, I have talked to her. I want to say she made her big announcement about the PhD program on the Quiltside chat that she did in March. I want to say it was on St. Patrick's Day, and that is on YouTube if you search the Quiltside chats for AQSG. But yeah, we're not sure, as far as like what her next the next part of her journey is. We're hoping that she's taking us along for the the PhD program, because I'm very curious to know like what that experience is going to be like for her. So, oh my gosh, did you want to Spuds Mackenzie? I've had some kind of Spuds Mackenzie thing when I was in middle school, like in 8th grade.
So if I'm understanding all of this.
This is why I should not be on auction.
This is why you should
This is why I shouldn't go on auctions. Look at this. I want this.
Why do you want that?
I don't know what I do with it or where I put it, but it's awesome. A big wooden alligator. Do they have anything that gives how big it is? They got no measurements on this thing. At least my auction house puts a yardstick in front of things. And they're just, oh wait, here it is. 55.
Steph, Cabin Girl missed your whole answer because of an ad.
Okay. Sorry, girl. Okay. We can't see the ads right now because I'm not watching on my Twitch. So to reiterate, Mary is going to University of Texas at Austin. She'll start in the fall. And she did announce that on a Quiltside chat, which I think was on March 17th. You can find it on AQSG's YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and we're hoping that, we don't know for right now, like if she's going to start streaming again or she's going to move over to some other platform to share stuff with people. But we hope that that's been her plans, because I would like to join along in the doctoral program, experience. I'm really interested to know how that goes for her. So yeah. Oh, Max sold auction of the Seagram family. Yes, Quilt just shared this with me was it night before last, I think. The Seagram family in Toronto is got some quilts. I don't know if you knew that, Jill.
The who?
The Seagram family, like
Who are they?
like ginger ale.
Oh.
They're Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the reason I found out about the Seagram people is because some of their children were caught up in that Nexium mess.
Mm.
I believe that's them. But it sounds like this part of the family has lovely quilts. So yeah,
Quilter
Seagram's and
says
Seven, like,
Quilter says Seagram's whiskey?
hmm
Huh.
yeah, yeah.
Well, that would make sense. Like I am like not at all a hard liquor drinker.
Oh, look at this. This is another Bessie Brown. $15, but 38 people are watching this. I know you said that lots of people just watch, and I understand that because I too am a lurker on the auctions. But when I see something that's got this many people watching it, I'm like, when this goes live, this is going to be some steady bidding.
Who knows?
But yes, you're absolutely right. You never know. Like I got that Mary Schaefer for, I don't
Yeah,
want to
well,
say a
here's the
song
thing,
and
right?
dance. But
You basically like got that Mary Schaefer for a steal, but then the ones that I was watching, I swear to God, I'm bidding against institutions.
well, and I was so upset I missed out on the one. It was the one right after the one I got. And I thought I had gotten that second one too, but because I was bidding on my phone, I
Um,
talked to Dana, and Dana's like, yeah, it seems like your last bid came in literally seconds before the winning bid. And I was like, it's because my phone had a delay.
it's a bummer.
Yeah. So this is a very cool, this is like a whirling, I don't know, I mean it's a whirling thing.
You know what they kind of remind me of is those little like green twirly things that come off trees that you put on your nose when you were a kid.
Oh. Oh, you mean like the little maple whirly gigs that
Yeah, doesn't it kind of reminds me of
Mhm.
those.
Yeah. But it's
I thought for a second that you were gonna look at me and be like, "What do you mean, psychopath? Who's
um
running
it,
around with crap on their nose?"
yeah, I don't know that I ever put those on my nose, but I did know what you're talking about. um yeah, so this is just I love the fact, I say this all the time with log cabins and Drunkard's Path and many other basic block patterns, but especially Drunkard's Path, you could put those blocks in so many different configurations and get so many different looking things out of it. It's so amazing to me. Oh, and look at this one, Scrappy.
Very, very versatile
It really
block
is. I mean,
pattern.
you could get the traditional like Drunkard's Path, right? The wiggly like across the quilt. And then you get this. I
Mhm.
mean, I just like they
Eva
could not be
said that
different.
she used to do the nose things with the seed pods. Thank you, Eva.
Well, I'm not understanding. What do you do? Like you balance it on your nose?
No, no, no. Like you'd split the pod open and then you'd it would like stick to your nose and then you'd have this like bird like beaky thing like I don't know,
Oh,
just like silly crap kids do.
okay.
I also used to go into
Yeah.
the woods, climb a tree and rub poison all over myself. Like
Okay. I gotta be honest. I'm wondering if the folks at this auction house don't really know quilts very well, because I mean, this is a
oh no,
cathedral
clearly
windows quilt.
not.
Yeah, this is a cathedral windows quilt, and
Mm-hmm.
this is sort of a oh, this is a
It's
two-sided quilt
double-sided.
too. Yeah, this is somewhat of a masterpiece.
No, when I was looking at that, I'm like, that's a cathedral windows quilt, isn't it? I'm like,
And they're just calling it quilt.
Well, you know what's funny is from afar, it doesn't look like one. You have to get up close because doing a cathedral windows this way, which I've never seen before, I'm sure they exist, makes it look totally different than what we're
Mhm.
used to seeing it as, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the scrappy cathedral windows.
I know, and I'm only used to ever seeing it with white, you know, or
Me too.
a solid color.
I have to say,
Um,
I do love this.
mm-hmm,
Um, I have one that is sort of scrappy, but it's white and scrappy.
mm-hmm.
So but yeah, you can see, and I mean, it's pretty amazing the way she matched this stuff up.
Eva said I lost her on the poison ivy. Well, Eva, I guess we're not friends anymore.
Yeah, those things, I mean, we call them whirly gigs, and you just like pitch them
I'm
in the
pretty sure
air and
that's what we called them too.
or helicopters.
Mm-hmm. Definitely helicopters.
All right, $15 for this quilt.
Well, that's not how
37 bidders
much,
though.
that's how much it is
I
right
know.
now.
I
Please.
know, but this is like how my mind goes like, okay, all
But you're
right.
totally gonna get angry emails from people being like, Stephanie, you told me this quote was $15.
And it was 500. Yeah, but I mean, that's just like, again, you know, personally, I would have bid the crap out of these. Like, I would have bid them up. 46 bidders on this one. And this,
I think they need to change that. I think you need to write them a strongly worded email to let them know that psychologically seeing 46 bidders is upsetting and it should be 46 watchers. Just like how eBay does. It's not as
yeah,
threatening when it's people watching.
yeah.
I like that
So,
more a lot.
so what this is, oh, I'm gonna struggle with this. So
I thought that one
the
was like crown or something.
yeah, it's like crown of thorns or crown something like that. Um,
Does
but I
Eva
always look at
does Barbara Bragman, you know, that lady needs an app for your phone so you can do like reverse
or
image search.
people that sit here, and I don't know if you guys can actually see me.
Yeah, I can see your book.
Okay. Um, but some of us actually have it beside our desk and never even look at it.
Um,
Except every now and then somebody will say, "Hey, let's
oh,
look."
and it's usually me for everyone asking. I'm usually the one that's like, Steph, I my book's somewhere else. Can you look this up for me?
Oh gosh, there's only
And she
like
will be like, as a matter of fact,
there's
it
like
is
seven
within
different
my
crowns of
arm's
thorns.
reach.
Well, yeah, I keep it by my desk because otherwise I would never ever consult it because I would have to look for it. Um, well, that's weird. What is this?
Nobody
Oh, I was
mind
looking.
my donut.
You're eating a donut. I can't see you right now, so because I'm sharing my screen. I need to do that dual screen thing.
You can't, you need to just change your view, honey. Change your view to side by side gallery.
Um, I don't know if I can do that because I'm sharing.
Fine. I don't like you anyway.
Mhm. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm looking for Crown of Thorns and mm, yeah, she's got a bunch of different versions of it in here. I'll have to find it later.
Eva, it's from
There's a
Dunkin' Donuts and it's called a glazed stick and it's just a regular donut that's straight and then it's like while it's still warm, they like dip it in glaze so that it's got a more of a cakey consistency to it. It's delicious.
See, I'm glad I'm not watching you eat a donut because all I had was a Pop Tart about 3 hours ago.
Oh, this is the first thing I'm having today.
So look at this
Sunny ran out and got
dollhouse.
the coffee. And yeah.
Look at this fantastic dollhouse.
Yes,
Looks like it's
Eva,
a
everything
fixer.
we're looking at is showing the current bid price. So when she says $15, that's currently what the bid is at.
That's not the sale price. But look at this dollhouse. It's a fixer upper. It is probably featured on that Instagram account. What's that? Cheap Mansions. But this is a gorgeous dollhouse. I had one of those like Sears dollhouses when I was a kid. It's just basically like a big prefab unit. And I have always just coveted a dollhouse like this.
So Eva, the sale price will be, we'll find that out like when the auction's over. Uh, it's not currently live. So we're basically previewing.
Yeah, everything that I've been previewing right now, it doesn't go until at least 2 p.m. today, possibly
No, it
later.
looks like this one's gonna be tomorrow.
Okay.
Because that
Okay,
one
so
that I
was this
found that I finally figured out how to get over there and figure out what was what is a different auction.
now
It's
this
one of those things where I don't think they were very good at differentiating like what's what here.
what would the sales price be? However much people drive it up when the auction actually goes live. So to step back a little bit, so these online auctions, the auctioneers have a couple different options, I guess, and how they sell these things. Um, so they can put them out there as like you can just preview all the stuff online, and that's what it is, and then you would show it for a live auction. That I think is the rarer version. Typically, what they do is they'll put all this stuff out there, and sort of like on eBay, you like pre-bid. You put in like what is your limit or whatever to kind of save your spot on that item, and then you would want to show up to the live whenever that's scheduled, because then that's like literally when it's going up for, you know, this particular one's gonna end at 10:30 a.m. and if you don't have the highest bid in at that point, you didn't get it. So it can get, I've seen some of these online ones go a little bit nuts. And unlike eBay, they discourage sniping. So like on eBay, you can like, if you're a cruddy person who likes to
Which
win
you
auctions
clearly are.
and you have really good internet. And so you wait until there's literally like 5 seconds left on the auction and then you bid so that the person who's winning doesn't have time to get in there and outbid you. But these online auctions work a little bit differently. If you bid in like say the last minute of the auction for an item, it will add another minute or like another minute and a half to give whoever you've been bidding against a chance to come in and outbid you if they want to. So it's kind of like they're evening the playing field and there's no sniping. So yes, I am an eBay sniper. Sometimes it's the only way to win. I have never seen this one before, and you think that this seems like a kid quilt.
So it's funny. I've never it says it's saying it's like dogwood, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen dogwood in those colors ever. It's always almost white.
Well, actual dogwoods can be pink.
But I mean like when I see the kits, the flowers are almost always white.
Hmm.
So I don't know that
Yeah,
I've ever seen I don't think I've ever seen the pattern. I don't know
yeah,
if like they followed the actual pattern there or if they just improvised. Mary Kay would actually be the one who would know immediately, probably.
yeah. Well,
Um,
this is interesting because this like it follows, and I mean these seem to be blocks, right? You
mhm,
can see the
mhm.
squares, and ooh, wild rose. So they're calling it a dogwood, and it's not. um, so Mary Kay, this is a kit quilt? Do you know this? I like this. I mean, it's obvious, like it's the way it's put together. It's the stems maybe are added on after
Oh,
the
Mary Kay's
blocks are
here.
put
She's
together.
quilt alive.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh,
You didn't know
hi, Mary Kay.
that?
It's hard to keep up with everybody's names everywhere.
Everybody's screen names, yeah. Oh, you've never seen it. Oh. So we've
Whoa.
got one that even Mary Kay may not have seen. So interesting. Oh, what's the let's see, what's this?
You know, it's funny. Mary Kay, you just typoed and said hi, Nil. However, what's funny is I am like super nasally today. So that is actually probably how I would say my name.
So, Dogwood. So, I mean, I'm guessing that's the name she gave it, but made by Mary Agnes Hangley O'Meara and her sister Frances Hangley. Fair Lawn, New Jersey, left to granddaughter, Terry O'Mara. So this would have been her grandmother. Chuckle, chuckle. I love it. So this is very pretty. I would, if I was bidding in this auction, I would definitely bid on this one because I
You're
love a
not
kid
going to bid in
quilt.
this auction?
I am not.
You're going to leave all of the pressure to me?
Yes. And then if you actually win any of these that I really want, then we'll discuss. Um, oh, this is a
My buyer's
fan.
premium is 150%.
Well, if you get a $10 quilt, oh, look at how she quilted this. These are really neat. So, huh. So it's
A lot
like
of
the fan
movement in that
shape.
quilting.
Yeah, so it's the fan shape, but she's used the background color for the corner of the fan. Oh, interesting. What is this backing? Do they have a better picture of that? Yeah. Oh, look at that plaid. Although it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to see the quilting in it though.
The plaid is really sexy.
Yeah. And they made no attempt to really match it, but I mean, matching plaids is for the oh, so okay. She says seeing the whole quilt, Wild Rose is a kit. Okay. She's not bidding, but might send you some links. Oh, Jill already knows. I'll take any of these quilts. I think literally almost all of these quilts are, I mean, with the exception, I guess, of those first few that they were attributed to a woman who was born in 1855. All of these later quilts are like early to mid 20th century, and they are all my favorites.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So is this the other one you were thinking of?
No,
Oh, so there's another one that's like that pansy one?
exactly like it. It's the same exact pattern, same
Okay.
exact colors.
Okay.
They just look a little more vibrant. It's just that it doesn't have the scalloped edge.
So, oh, this is just a quilt top.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Burgoyne surrounded, like I've heard, I've always heard of the Burgoyne, and I'm just like, what is it that like who is Burgoyne? What what is the history of this block? I'm curious. I know there is one. Um and I think it has to do with some battle, right? I don't know if it's Civil War or Revolutionary or what, but
You're asking me like I know the answer.
you always know more about these things than I do. Oh, so this is the back. I guess that's showing that it's hand pieced, right? Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The picture quality is crappy.
Yeah. Made by Tess Beckman, Carolina. Left to Terry O'Mara. Okay. It's really pretty. I love the colors. I like
Mm-hmm.
what they did here. A lot of people watching that one, but quilt tops, I see sometimes I see a quilt top in an auction and it's like nobody really wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, you can kind of get a good deal, but also quilt tops have become, and those of us that collect quilt tops with the intention of finishing them, some of us do a better job of finishing them. um, that, I think we are all seeing used to be able to get, buy quilt tops for a song and a dance pretty much. And that's not the case anymore. Oh, this is a pretty quilt. This one's got to be much newer though.
I'm gonna turn my mic off for 1 sec.
Okay. The quilting on this is very pretty. But I would say that this is definitely a kit quilt. So I think a lot of that would have already been marked. Not to say, not to disparage the maker, because I mean, just because it's already marked on there for you doesn't mean that the actual in and out of the needle isn't, a stellar job, because it really is. It looks really pretty. Um, but yeah. Oh, you know what? I don't think I noticed this. There's little tiny thorns on these. Oh, you guys. When I get a better look at that.
I don't think I noticed
Oh,
that
it's
either.
so hard to
Mm-hmm.
see, but look, they're little,
Yep.
and I wonder if that's I wonder if that's like a little embroidery stitch or something, or if it's the fabric is actually with that little notch. Hmm, so hard to tell. Oh, it looks like it's a little like a little chain stitch, like one little lazy daisy. How clever. If she came up with that on her own, how clever. If it was part of the pattern also, how clever.
I was gonna say, because someone had to draft that pattern.
Yeah, but I'd never seen that. I've never seen little thorns. So maybe she was like, the maker was like, you know what? I'm gonna put some thorns on my quilt.
I don't know if I have.
And by the way, Eva, that gator was not a statuette. I did finally find the size, and it was like more than, it was almost 2 yards long. I think it was about 5 feet long. See, these are the things where I'm like, oh, what is all that? Oh my goodness, look at this. So I think we're in the $10 territory on all this stuff that either,
Well, it's just stuff that hasn't necessarily like done much yet.
well, typically when you see like, so they will probably start the bid at $10. Oh, okay. Mary Kay's saying thorns are on the kit. That's awesome. Okay. Burgoyne was a British general. He was surrounded and defeated in the Battle of Saratoga. Poor guy immortalized in a quilt block. Yeah, so this poor man's defeat. So that would have been so Battle of Saratoga, was that revolutionary, or was that I know there's like multiple other conflicts either after, okay, so revolutionary. I love it when the Canadians can tell us our own history. Between Eva and Quiltish, I sometimes feel like a real dummy with American history. Okay, so this to me says more Rosa Sharon than that other one. Although this isn't exactly a Rosa Sharon shape either. To me, this is, I don't know. Rosa Sharon, I think, is supposed to have 5 petals. The alligator would make a lovely quilt weight. Yes, it would. Or I could slip it in somebody's bed when they're sleeping.
Oh my.
Oh, is it the back of the quilt? Oh, this just looks like it's a bad lighting. Because that is should be pink. They're just trying to show that stain.
That was some bad lighting.
Yeah, it was. It could look purple. It's pretty, but
Well, you can also tell that like to take these photos, they're just having someone hold it in their living
I
room.
know you can see the fingers.
That's what I mean. Like this isn't necessarily like the best auction
Yeah,
setting
I know
I've ever
Dana
seen.
has I know when her quilt, I guess if it has a sleeve, I'm sure she puts some sort of rod through it, but it looked like she had hers like clipped up, and I think that's the
Hmm.
way I usually see. Although the auction house that's local to me, that sometimes I get, I pick up the quilts there. They often just lay them on the floor and like stand up on I don't know, a step stool or something. It's not very high above them, but
Oh, to take the picture.
mhm.
I thought you were gonna say like during the auction.
No. No, their auctions are all completely online. They don't do any live auctions.
I mean,
Um,
don't get me wrong, trying to get like a good four corner flat photo of a quilt is a super pain in the ass.
yeah,
But I'm just
it
saying,
really
like,
is.
when you're an auction business,
I know.
like,
But
um,
also think about it this way. I mean, just dealing with your inventory, doing a refold, showing people, like unfolding quilts and refolding quilts takes a while. So
yeah.
I guess I kind of understand, like if a quilt has a hanging sleeve, I get it. You want to be careful with the quilt, but people who just are like, these quilts are no different than say a table or some other antique item. I mean, they're going to treat it with respect, obviously, but I don't know, they're not going to take like extreme efforts to take pictures, I don't think. So, yeah.
I'm just,
I,
at this point, like I'm just Dana has raised my expectations too high.
yeah.
The bar is high. Too bad that red on the spools quilt was bleeding.
Oh, yeah. What here? That little
There was like the first
interior.
picture, the super dark red.
Oh, okay. Oh, look, that one bled.
Hi, Mishra.
Hey, Shawl. Yeah, that would
Wow,
definitely
it's
blood.
so dark it came through the back too.
Oh yeah, that's funny. So, oh yeah, there it is. Definitely blood.
That's like the bleediest
That
like
offensive
fabric
bleeding
ever.
red.
Bled in the front, bled in the back, bled on your friend.
Yep, that's those reds for you. Okay. Oh, like, look at this. Bunch of junk. Love it. I remember, you guys, I am an artist in addition to loving quilts. So I look at like old vintage antique stuff as also inspiration and, you know. Ah, check this out, because we do talk about the swastika being used as a decorative device. So this is a Navajo. I know we've talked about the Tibetan version of the swastika, and I mean, I know like in the East, it's used in a bunch of different, I want to say Buddhism and Hinduism both use the swastika. And then here in the US, Native Americans. So it's a shame the Nazis ruined it for everybody. Oh, look, this has a little tag on it. So this is quite likely made long after long after World War II. So, oh no, wait a minute. Sorry, never mind. 1890s. But it has this tag on it? Or no? Oh, I see. I'm sorry. This is a little, this is like some type of little applied tag. This wasn't sewn on the rug. Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Wow, that rug looks like it could have been made yesterday. It's
I
like
know, that's why I was
worn.
thinking when I glanced at this, I thought this was just like a tag sewn on the back of it. I'm like, wait a minute, how did I? But yeah, 1890s. That's, and it looks like it's in just perfect condition. It's never been.
I feel like this auction house just estimated absolutely everything at $10 to $100.
I wonder if they're a newer auction house and, or maybe they're newer
What's the
online or
size of
something.
this? I feel like it's small.
28 pages of like, how many are here? 6, 9, 12, 15.
Well, you're only doing 24 items per page.
Oh, it's 24. Oh, duh. Yeah, but that's about, I have to say that's about average.
I usually do like 120.
I don't want to start that because it's going to start me back at the beginning. We're just taking it easy through here. So we're not going to see this live because I can't stay on until 2.
This one's not going to be on at 2, honey. This one's going to be tomorrow.
Ah,
The
here
one
it
that's
is.
2, remember, is the different stuff. So we're going to have to do this
Okay.
all again tomorrow at 2 or at 10.
Well,
there you go. There's the second one with the straight edge.
yes.
And if you were looking at them side by side, this one's colors are a little more vibrant.
Oh, okay. And I thought the first one, the colors were pretty vibrant.
No, this one.
But
interesting though to see the straight edge.
No, wait a minute. Is this quilted though?
Oh no, it's not. It says it's a top.
It is a top, but it's all stained. What a bummer. Because I was about to say, like, oh, I guess this one, I mean, clearly you can see the scalloped is more. But
look at, you can see the people behind it. It comes with a ghost.
Arms are tired.
It's like one of those inflatable arms guys. Like,
oh, Russums, we love you. Oh, the sunflower. I do love this pattern, but like it has become ubiquitous. Like I felt the first few times I saw it, I was like, oh, it's the sunflower. And it was mountain mist, right? And now I see it all the time. And I'm like, oh, it's the sunflower.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like I went like years never ever seeing this pattern. And I'm sure Mary Kay is gonna be like, that's how it happens. And then like what was it in like the last couple of auctions or something that we were looking at?
Yeah.
And now I'm just kind of like, oh, cool.
I think Dana had this one because I think I bid on it. I was like,
she had one.
I might as well get myself one.
There was like another auction. We weren't watching it live or anything. I think we were just like, hey, look at this. And it was in that auction too. Like maybe like a year ago. Or it could have been one that Mary had looked at online.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know we've looked at this. And now this is the pillow cover. Oh, that's cute. I don't know that I've ever seen the pillow.
I don't think I've ever seen the pillow.
Yeah. I really wish that this was a quilt house that they could have more info in here. But just based on the number of people watching these quilts, I think that the quilt people have had no problem finding this auction. Especially considering that the person, Terry, that I think is auctioning these, um, she are those yo-yos? Oh, those are yo-yos. Um, yeah, the lady that put these in the auction, she definitely has been telling everyone about this auction. That's how I found out about it. Oh, it has a great story, originally copy of the Marie Webster quilt. Yeah, Mary Kate, the sunflowers, definitely. And so that was one of the Mountain Mist patterns, right? That one of Marie Webster's patterns that became Mountain Mist. Or Mountain Mist. I don't know, she sell it to Mountain Mist. She don't think she licensed because then she would have been getting royalties. And I don't think any of those quilt makers got royalties. Um, this looks like, I could be wrong. This looks like they are stitched onto polyester double knit. I could totally be wrong about what this backing is, but no, maybe it's not, because you can see through it. It just had that look about it.
Mm-hmm.
I know my double
Eva
knits.
said, but if we were buying these from an auction house, it would make the price skyrocket for me. Eva, you know, it's funny. Generally speaking, I don't buy a ton of inventory from online auctions because of the buyer's premium.
Yeah. And also just the fact that people, I would say collectors are probably more of the people that are in these auctions. I mean, disagree with me, Jill, but I would say like I, as a collector, would be willing to spend more on a quilt than maybe Jill would because she needs to put it in her inventory and be able to make
No, if
money
I
off
was
of it.
buying something like the Marie, like the quilts Dana had, what's her name? Mary Schaefer.
Mm-hmm.
Though,
But
like
that's
the
what,
quilts I was bidding on in there, I was bidding on as a collector.
right.
And
Yeah.
definitely, I think I think I bid one of those quilts up to like $600 or something for one. So I would definitely pay far more for that.
Yeah. I think between you and Mia, and I want to say one of the ones you bid up pretty high, Mia ended up getting. And I found out like
Probably.
an hour later, she told me, she's like, I got, da 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 quilt. And I was like, you and Jill were bidding against each other.
Hey, look,
And the answer is there are no
I was
friends.
gonna say Dana
There are
says
no
there's
friends in
no
auctions.
friends in auctions. I mean, I guess I'm like a sucker because to a certain extent, like if we were going to an auction together and you're like, look, I really want this quilt, then I would be like, okay, I'm not gonna bid against you. Um, but if I didn't know you were bidding, you know, that's a little different.
Okay, so Mary Kay says Mountain Mist had a freelance artist make a modern sunflower pattern. Sneaky, sneaky. And I mean that's the way things go, right? The companies today have a little bit more liability because of copyright laws and stuff have caught up, and artists can be like, you stole my intellectual property. But back then, I'm sure Mountain Mist was like, or, I mean, maybe there was an agreement too, but I know a lot of these patterns that Mountain Mist had on the wrappers in the quilt batting definitely were patterns that, Mountain Mist didn't come up with them. They were other quilters' patterns that they either, I guess, sold or whatever. So yeah, I was just looking at this and maybe it's a linen or something. It just looks like, yeah. So this is probably older than I'm thinking it is. I'm fascinated by this though.
I don't always love when the yo-yos are attached to a background because I feel like they can't move as freely.
Mm.
So I feel like they're more apt to, you know, rip or tear or create holes or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But I like whatever it is she's done here. I'm not sure if these are representative of something. I mean, some of them obvious are they're crosses, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the way that they're set and they're kind of off center, it's almost like what the Swiss flag, or
Or I wonder if
it's
they're
cool
holding
though.
it upside down because some of the
Yeah,
crosses look
well,
upside down.
yeah, but they're all going in all different directions. So hmm. That's pretty neat though. I don't know. Oh, did I just
So,
that?
you know, Eva, funny story about bidding in person. So when we were at AQSG seminar in Louisville last year, um, there's a night where there's a live auction that Dana Auction she does. And they had some pretty cool stuff in that auction. And that particular night, uh, we took up a table that was mostly made up of Mary nerds. I think actually was it everybody but Mia were Mary nerds, maybe? I think
Possibly.
so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
So with the addition of Mia, who was also a newer AQSG member, um, our table, I think we had 8 people at the table. We took home like 5 of the auction quilts. I think our table had the most auction wins. Um, and there were 2 quilts that I originally started out bidding against another member at our table. One member I was bidding against on one quilt was Elle Riggs. And then at one point, she looked over at me and I said to her, "Do you really want this?" And she's like, "I really, really want it." I'm like, "Okay." And I backed down. And then the other person I was bidding against on one quilt, and the quilt ended up going pretty high, was
Word
you
nerd
took a
nerd.
picture holding her quilt.
Yeah, word nerd, Kathy.
Yes, yes. And she kind of looked over at me at one point and was like, "I really want this." And I was like, "Okay." I ended up winning something else. And then there was another quote that I wanted bad. And I bid it up to like $800 and then backed out. It went for like 1100 at the end of the night or something. And I didn't get it. I was mad. And then so that was the case where if I followed Dana's rules, I would have been like, "Screw you, friends. I'm getting the quilt." But I didn't.
Mary Kay says the OGs were ecstatic to see you all bidding. I was like, I'm living vicariously because yeah, a few $100 I'm in, but oh, over 1,000, I don't have that budget.
Yeah, me
So
and
glad that
Mia and
people who
Word and
run
Birdner
businesses
were,
have that budget.
yeah, there were a few of us that were trying to spend some big bucks. But you know what's funny is once the auction was over, I had set aside a good chunk of money for that.
Mhm.
And I did get a quilt that was signed by a lot of OG historians, Mary Kay included, that was made by another AQSG member. And it's lovely and I love it. But I was like in the mood to spend money. And by that point, the vendor mall was closed.
Well, I
So next
believe
year
that
they're going to do it
yeah.
differently. They're going to
I
make
was
the
going to say,
auction.
I believe that the seminar committee listened to your feedback and was like, yes, the vendors want your money if you don't spend it in the auction.
I mean, when I think about it, I had budgeted probably around $1,000-ish, and you're hungry, like you're just like, gosh, spend money. So I probably would have done some. I hadn't done hardly any damage in the vendor mall while we were gone. I probably would have done some damage that night.
May I mention the names that are on this lovely signature quilt?
I know you
Daddy
love to do
Sharp.
that.
Love these names. Daddy Sharp. That might be my new band name.
I really
Effie.
like the setting of this quilt too.
Yeah, Effie Mache. Mishi. Is that Mische or I like that. I want to pretend that's an A and it's Effie Mache,
I
like
probably would have
papier
said
mache.
Effie Matcha.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking. It's definitely an I and an S, I think, but it would be cool if it was an A. And then she would just be like Effie Mache. Charlie Taylor. So one of my great grandfathers was named Charlie Taylor Hardison.
Hmm.
And it was spelled like that too, Charlie with the Y.
Hmm. Kind of like
So this
Charlet.
is the Taylor Sharp family. So they're Fairlawn, New Jersey. Yeah, this is really neat. Yeah, and I like this. I don't know that I've seen anything that uses this kind of this situation here in the
Yeah,
corners.
I really like the setting a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. And then I'm wondering if they set this off like this way because these were 2 important people. I mean, one of them is Daddy Sharp. So
Could it be a marriage, maybe?
maybe they're like the patriarch. And then I don't think that there's a close-up of this one. I can't read what Mother Sharp. Of course. So this must be Daddy and Mother Sharp, and then this must be maybe their children and grandchildren, or some sort of family that they are the center of. That's kind of cool. Um, Mother Sharp. That's like Mother Cake. My mom is like, oh, I'm Mother Cake now.
I mean, no, she's Mama Cake. None of
That's
this
such a funny
formal
name.
mother. It's Mama Cake.
Okay, we've got lots of rugs. I see a lot of rugs at auctions. Look at these carved rabbits. Aren't they cute?
Am I like the only person that couldn't be any less interested in rugs?
You know, I'm not really a rug person either. I mean, they're lovely. I personally own a very beautiful antique oriental rug that came down through the family, and it is currently at my mother's house in storage. The cookie cutters. I'm a sucker for these two. I have a couple of like really old ones like that. Um, Mary Kay, these are worth collecting if you're starting a collection. Yes, definitely. Um, but yeah, like my personal antique rug, like I do want it in my house because it has sentimental, you know. But other than that, if it didn't have the sentimental aspect to it, I would just kind of be like, meh. Doll costumes. What? Hold on a minute, guys. I gotta look at this. Kabuto doll costumes.
I
Look at
really
these.
need to come over to your house. I'm very curious to see what it's like inside.
There's a reason why. So my clients that I work with in non-quilting things, they call this my quilt fort, because I usually will blur my background on calls with them because I'm kind of like, not that I hide this part of my life, but it's just like you kind of have that separation because they're
Mhm.
a totally different industry. Like they think it's cool, but they're kind of like, yeah, you do stuff that we don't do. So yeah, I always have my quilts and stuff. But yeah, the reason why is because there is like a whole like studio over here that is just crazy, messy, insane. So I try to keep that off camera because people will be like, "Are you a hoarder?" No, I'm not a hoarder. I just have a lot of just crazy weird stuff. And some of it's inspiration, some of it I actually use in artwork. So, and my husband hates it all. My husband's like, these items are very interesting. I'm sorry. I just,
So if when your son flies a coop, will you make that a
yes,
studio?
yes. So the plan was, and we're going back like 7 years now. This area that I'm in is my dining room, and it's in the center of the house. And so we have always had this desk in the corner. And the goal was for us to kind of make the bedroom upstairs into an office. And it was going to be like the spillover, my studio spillover, because I do have a quote unquote studio in the guest room. But the reason why I do a lot of work down here is because the guest room is the total back of my house and it has a long arm setup in it. And it's like not a true long arm, it's a frame with a machine mounted on it. Um, and it takes up all the space up there. Like I have to disassemble it if I'm gonna, really work up there.
I
And
was
so
gonna
the
say,
plan
do
had
you
been,
actually use it?
I haven't in a while just because I've done so much handwork lately, the last couple of years, like through the pandemic.
Hmm.
And that has been the thing, like, I mean, I did quilt some quilts on it over the pandemic, but I'm kind of like, should I take, break it down and put it in storage? I
Well,
know as soon
doesn't
as
your
I,
mom have a long arm?
yes, my mom has a
So I
legit
feel
long arm.
like dismantle that, and then if you need the long arm stuff, just go spend the weekend at your mom's house.
Yes, that also is a good plan. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, if I disassemble it and pack it up and put it in storage, I'm immediately going to say like, oh, I want to, work on something. So it's been, oh, wait a minute. What was that?
This
Oh,
auction has a ton of antique advertising in it.
yeah. They also have, and this is another thing I often see is like these ethnographic or oriental things. And I think that's people collect stuff, or people over the late 20th century maybe traveled a lot and picked up things. And now that those older people are either liquidating or passing away, their
Hmm.
estate auctions, all this stuff is coming up to auction. So I've actually gotten a number of Oriental, like I would call it like tourist trade type of textiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I have this beautiful coat that was made in Korea. And it was obviously like a businessman or maybe a government official traveling had this thing made. Um, it's absolutely beautiful. And yeah, got it for a song and a dance. Okay, well, that's the end of this lot or this group of lots. So it looks like the quilts, there was a few in the $10 range. Did we want to look at anything else? Do we want to play a round of quilts and cats? Because I did promise there would be cats, and both of my cats are asleep on the couch and said, no, thank you.
Well, I mean, it depends. So I guess in order to watch this live, then we're gonna have to come back tomorrow at 10. So do you want to save cats for tomorrow? Because even still, like you were looking at the auction setup not chronologically. So there's still like 65 lots in from where they're
Yeah,
gonna
so
start, I guess.
let me sort that. Let me sort that way. So starting soonest, right? That would be right. Is that the okay? Yeah. So they're starting with lot 0772.
They should be starting with
No,
lot 400.
0771. When I this one that I'm in, when I sort it, oh no.
Do lot number lowest.
Hmm. Hmm. All right, this is a different view that I'm in right now.
Yeah, if you go with lot number lowest, it starts with 400. Oh, did you ever see the cool frame?
Oh no, you said that was 200, right?
It's 467 or something like that.
Why am I thinking it's 200? Something else was 200.
Yeah, there's nothing we're looking at in the 200s.
Okay.
The
Oh,
lowest lot is 400.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Um, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff. I don't know how I didn't see this stuff.
So
All
it's 467,
right, hang on a second,
and
you
then
guys.
the
I gotta.
quilts start right after that. So the quilts start at 468.
Sorry, I just have to share my screen again and look at this guy. This is a Tanuki. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's a little Japanese character. He's supposed to be a not a red panda. Eva, you know what a Tanuki is, right? I feel like you do enough gaming and they're like a gaming character. Anyway, he's a delightful little creature, but it's based on like a real animal. But he comes to life in these Japanese folk stories. And he's got a very large set of um, huevos. Let's put it that
What?
way. I kid you not. If you look up the story of the Tanuki, he's well endowed in the bollocks department. Raccoons, yes, it's a raccoon. Yes, it is it's a
Really? I was gonna guess it was some kind of like a penguin or something.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with its mouth here, but yes, it is like it's a raccoon creature. So like almost red panda-ish, I think. But I think he doesn't, like I don't know if this is his tail. Yeah, he has like a bushy tail. But yes, if you look up the Tanuki, Tanuki, he's a little rascal and yeah, I don't know what he does with his anatomy there, but he's known for it. Sorry, we probably should have put a a warning on this. Oh gosh, look at all these masks and things. All right, let's see, where am I in the so what number, I'm sorry, what number did you say it was for?
467.
Okay, so next page then. I won't do it that way. Actually, let's do that. And that way I'll have, because I definitely did not see this quilt frame. Oh,
There you
there it
go.
is.
Yep, right there.
Oh, this is sort of, oh yeah. Okay. It's not super pictures of it, but look at that. Like, I guess those are the,
If I was like in town, I would totally buy it.
yeah. I mean, this is definitely very old. Let's see what the, oh, Terry O'Mara. Yeah, she donated or not. I keep saying donated. She's not donated these. She is
Consigned.
auctioning these. Consigned. She is auctioning these through Rossum's. So this is so interesting. So this would have been like what her relative.
Yeah, so like how often, right? Like you see quilt frames and stuff in antique stores, but like how often do they come with a provenance?
Exactly. And
Hint,
how
hint,
often are they
hint,
kind of,
Steph. I already like you're like an hour and a half away from that auction where you can pick up.
I'll look at the
I
pickup
already map
information.
quested for you.
So I do, well, the thing is I do have to go out there in that area like in 2 weeks, I guess. But the point is, will the auction house hold? They often won't. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll work this out, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you know what? You should
Um,
contact them today and ask so that you have time to register and bid. Because half of me, I trust me, I map quested because I was immediately like, oh, they're in Maryland. Can I have Kate go pick up this stuff for me instead of me having to ship it? And then I didn't ask you to do that because I was like, oh, it's like an hour and a half away. That's kind of a big ask. And when I saw that you have to cross the river to do it, I was like, oh.
so Eva's asking, so Jill bids and Stephanie goes and gets. Yes, my title in Jill's business is schlepper. And my payment is some quilt discounts. So people that
Eva, to be
put the
fair,
quilts on their back.
Eva, I also go out on things like house calls to buy quilts that Stephanie likes. And actually the last one I did, she had a few quilts and I just sent Steph a picture and was like, "Hey, look at this." It was an interesting kind of, it wasn't a sunbonnet too, but it was, in that genre. And she was like, "Yes, you can get that for me." And that happened to be the only quote that I left with. So, a little tit for tat going on over here.
There really is. And I joke around. I make a big deal about being the schlepper. I actually bought us tote bags for Christmas that say schlep on the side of
Oh
them.
my God, hold on, I have it.
Mine is back there. Or no, actually mine's in the hallway in a stack of quilts. But what I was going to say about this quilt frame as you're doing that, they're
How
usually not
awesome
this
is this
pretty.
tote bag? Schlep. And it's plaid. It's like the tote bag
Oh,
of
you
my
know what?
dreams.
There it is. Okay. It is a very cool tote bag. It's funny. I had a quilt in it and I took it to a quilt study day. And as I pulled it out from under the table, I was joking. I was like, look, guys, it's a schlep. And one of the people gasped and she was like, oh, I hope you didn't buy that at the dollar store. And I was like, trust me, ma'am, I spent a lot of money on these bags. I did not buy them at the dollar store. And she's like, because I don't know if you've ever seen those mesh bags that they're plaid looking, but they're very like, I don't know, I'm trying to think, like old ladies carry them. I remember my grandmother had some that apparently if they get wet they can bleed all over the place.
Oh,
They're not, yeah, I kind of thought of them as being like plasticky, but apparently, anyway, she said, oh yeah, I know some people that bought some of those from the dollar store thinking they were sturdy and they like literally bled on their quilts. And I was like, no need to worry, my schlep bag is made out of like post-consumer recycled, definitely not dollar store.
oh my. So Eva's like, yeah, Jill, you need to keep your number one customer happy.
No, you know who my
Surprisingly,
your number one customer is, not me.
yeah, I was gonna say, surprisingly, she is not the number one customer. So far, the number one quilt customer in terms of number of quilts purchased is actually Mama Cake.
Yes, Mama Cake loves a quilt. And I was talking to her yesterday. She goes, I need to stop buying quilts from Jill. I have too many quilts. Spend so much money on quilts. And I was like, yeah, but it's Jill. And you love
Well,
Jill.
that and it's your inheritance.
Oh, it is. It is my inheritance. So what I was going to say about this quilt frame, the provenance piece of it is really totally awesome. But do you see them looking this pretty? I mean, I realize that this is not like showroom antique furniture, but typically like they're a sawhorse or a chair. These were like homemade things. They were not things like, you know, before the mid 20th century, I guess. They weren't buying pre-made frames. They were literally making them. And it was like 2x4s. And, maybe if you had a cabinet maker husband, they were, nicely
I
notched
mean,
and
I would
stuff. But
argue this is still pretty
it's rough.
rudimentary in design.
It is rough, but nonetheless, it's still got this aspect of like kind of making it look nice. And it's got all of these beautiful, like hand hewn notches. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that is prettier than your average quilt frame. Because I mean, it's not there for display. It's there to get the dang thing quilted, and then you're gonna take it down, and the quilt is the thing that's pretty.
It definitely reminds me of, obviously we didn't see the underside, but like ones that we would have been looking at that were like part of the original, like Uncle Eli's quilting party.
Yeah. I'm fascinated to know about these
Well, those are going to
these
be
10.
the long pieces that go into these
Right.
notches.
I understand that peg it together, but I'm like, those are like some full-on tent stakes. That one right there, that is like, these look more a little more like, corner pegs, so that this thing looks like you could kill a man with that.
I mean, I'm sure you could.
Well, you do know. I mean, I'm trying to think if I read this I want to say I read it in a book, but it might have been in the newspaper or something where I guess late 1800s into the 20th century, ladies would wear, hats with the hat pin, and they considered the hat pin a potential weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Just whip that hat pin out and jab somebody with it. Don't you touch me on the trolley car, sir.
Eva pointed out that only 4 people are looking at this.
This is true.
So she's like, how can you not bid on it?
This peer pressure is too much for me.
You have literally peer pressured me to buy every quilt in the auction.
Come on. This is how we end up with nice things.
Well, hey, you can take down the other quilt frame in your guest room and set this one up.
Yeah, this one would maybe not make my Janome very happy.
Well, not for a machine, like for, you're the one that's like, I do a lot of hand quilting, or take it to your mom's and set it up. She will approve.
My mother's running out of room. Guys, I keep saying like, can I store this at your house? Eva. Hey, Mama is a fan.
She's watching the
Oh,
quilt frame.
okay. No, Mama is a fan is one of the people that's bidding on this.
And there's no friends in auctions.
Yeah, sorry, Mama. No friends
Oh,
in auctions.
but see, look, Mama says just looking.
Okay.
So
Yes, because I think
they're watching just to watch you bid on it.
Yeah. So now I know, Mama, you live if I remember correctly, you're in California. So this would be a problematic shipping because of those long pieces. Well, and I mean even the end supports. So
Well,
okay.
and I need you to bid on it and win so that I can be like, you're gonna pick up my auction shit, and I don't have to feel bad that like I sent you far away to get my stuff.
Because I'm gonna bid on it. Oh
Oh
yeah, the
yeah.
shipping to California would be horrible. Yeah. It would be like, oh gosh, I can't even imagine. It would have to be like some kind of freight situation.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Just for those long ass pieces, and that's it.
Well, I mean but these end pieces are big. Like they're what 38 by 31. That's smaller than the alligator.
Hey, looking at the alligator too. Was anybody looking at that?
Yeah, I think it was in the, I don't know, $40 or $50 range.
You can get the alligator and you could like set it up in like the middle of your living room and have your husband just stumble across and you'd be like, I was thinking about a dog, but like this made more sense.
Yeah, I was thinking like I think I'm at the point where if I were to buy any like larger, artwork, antiques, items, whatever, I'm gonna have to start suspending them like around the edges of the room, like um, those restaurants like
They put them like on the wall.
Skidoodles or TGI Fridays. Like I'm trying to think what's one, I guess Applebee's. I don't know, those a lot of those restaurants have like rebranded and they don't do that anymore. But I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like where
Hmm.
they'd buy up all that antique stuff and like, I think American Pickers, they used to work for one of those companies that they would
Oh.
source stuff and those companies then put it into restaurants and other kind of spaces that use antique and vintage stuff. Cracker Barrel, yeah, there you go. That's another one.
Oh yeah.
My house already looks like Cracker Barrel because I inherited all this stuff from my grandparents. And I couldn't take the larger stuff. I just couldn't. So like the big salt glazed barrel that I was talking about at the top of the stream, those were things that I had to like kind of leave to my aunt and uncle to deal with. But I took a lot of the smaller things. So like I have one of those old like grocery store, general store scales. It looks like a giant scoop, but it's hanging from a scale. I have
Hmm.
that. I have like a whole bunch of kitchen type stuff. Um, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this stuff. I don't think it's the kind of stuff that would sell for very much money, because it's not like in some kind of incredible shape or anything. And I kind of don't want to get rid of it because it belonged to my grandmother. They're things she collected because she was a big collector. So anyway, I keep thinking like, I guess I could put up some shelving and just start like attaching things to the crown molding.
I mean, it would kind of be like in my sewing room where I have that shelf that goes around the ceiling with the antique, the toy sewing machines on it.
Yeah, and that is something that I would like to have because I have little things like that. I have like toy sewing machines and some other little things, and I've put up two like corner shelves on the landing in my stairwell, just to hold stuff like that. But they're jam packed with things. I mean,
Hmm.
I've been collecting things since I was a kid. Like I had literally have stuff that I've had since I was like 4 years old. I was the kid who always had a pocket of rocks and stuff like that. So like I just have I remember well, I don't have to remember because I still have it. Like I have this little panda pencil topper that I got when I was like 3 or 4 years old because I was
Lisa
sick.
Frank.
No, it's not. It's like a gumball machine. And it's the cutest little thing. His little head turns, but his arms and legs are like this so he could grip a pencil. And I mean, this would have been like 76, 77 out of a gumball machine. I still have it. And the reason why I got it is because I was sick and my mom had to go pick up a prescription. And like, I don't know, like took forever with a prescription or something. And I was really sick. And so my mom like went to the gumball machine to get something to, entertain me while we were waiting on this prescription. And yeah, I've had it ever since. I would literally take it from my dresser and like put it in my pocket and carry it around with me.
Hmm.
So I'm that kind of person. I'm not a hoarder, but I'm very sentimental and like I hold on to things that bring me joy. So I have a lot of things that bring me joy. But I mean, you've seen me pull things out of like nowhere. Like here's a
Literally
tiny
no, yeah,
iron.
like literally like just random crap from everywhere.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You're gonna have to like take a screenshot for me or something of like the view from your perspective because all I see is
Well,
this like fort behind you, but I have no idea what it looks like in front of you.
so you know how they always say that the internet is so highly curated. And I know people look at the screen and they see this amazing, um, this amazing set, and they see this like rolled out of bed like this, and they can't imagine that it could possibly be an absolute nightmare to look at my desk because my desk is truly a nightmare. It's it's a
I
corner
can
desk,
imagine
so
it.
um yeah, I mean I have strange things here. Um Dusty things sometimes. Um my grandmother. My grandmother
Like
watches over
ashes?
me. Yeah, rubber ashes. Yeah.
Oh,
So like that's the kind of things like I have on my desk. I have things that make
people.
me laugh, things that are important. Like if I spend all day at my desk, a lot of times, and I like to have, my grandmother's there with me
Hmm.
and my
Hmm.
my strange turtle and
Your buddy Dutton.
his duck steed. And yes,
But
Pocket
there's
Dutton.
no snake duck there, right?
No, Snake Duck is actually upstairs in my there. It's in a little doll cradle full of all of my little strange animals. You and I were trying to remember what other strange animals that I have obtained from you. And there are many now. But the yo-yo dog, that was the one we could
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, I think
And
I've gotten two.
I have its litter mate.
It's literally, yes, that's right. And then I have that probably 1960s, 1970s dog that you found for me. And
Yeah, with
then
the weird like tongue.
yep. And then our friend Amy Barrick also found, I want to say, is it a cat and a dog? Or no, it's a rabbit and a dog, I think. So yeah, I have quite a few strange little animals and the cradle's full. That's why I had to put the brakes and wait on the cow. Don't you roll your eyes at me. Because my husband's rule of one in, one out. I have to get rid of one of the other animals if I take the cow. And I mean, it's like Sophie's choice of cutter quilt animals. Like,
I don't need his negativity in my life. Just get rid of him.
so
So
see
the cow.
if we move him out, then we do gain a lot of space.
All right.
So yeah, he and your partner could like perhaps move in together. I don't know if he's still around. He was lurking.
Yeah.
We're moving you guys into the basement.
As long as there's good internet, Sunday
Oh.
doesn't care.
So oh yes. So Mama is a fan. Thank you for the doing a shout out for her, Eva. Mama is doing um Dresden plate. Awesome. Yeah, I've missed you all week. I have seen you pop up and I just haven't had a chance to go to check in on what you're working on. So, well, Mama, I don't know if I can do a because of the way we're streaming, I don't know if I can do a raid for you when you start streaming, but um I can try. But if you if you want to see some very, very good teaching techniques, go over and see her stream because I've learned things. I've learned some good techniques that she's teaching. So
Hmm.
we're rolling into 2 hours and about 15 minutes. So are we gonna reboot this tomorrow?
I mean, we can if you're available. I'm available.
Well, oh yeah, Eva, absolutely. I am very jealous of Mama as a fan's very cool cameras. I don't know, Jill, if you've ever had a chance to check in on her screen, but
I am not.
she's got these multiple camera setups that are voice activated. And so she can say like, I can't remember what your different commands are, but I know one is her sewing machine. And so she can say like, I can't remember what like the activation word is, but I think it's probably like switch or something like that. And so she switches over. Yeah, switch to iron, switch to Bertha. Bertha is your sewing machine. Yeah. And I'm like, oh man, I have to like, oh, every time I want to switch my view.
I was gonna say, like, would you want people to see other views?
Well, but I mean, no, that's the thing I do. But I mean, I do switch views. I don't have multiple cameras like that, but I switch views when I want to go over to like to show something on my desktop or I have my document camera, sometimes when I'm flipping through
Oh.
stuff. So
Mhm.
that's all I'm talking about. Like if I had it set up on my stream deck, I could just hit a button, but figuring that out and setting those things up it takes time.
Well,
And I
then
just haven't done that. So
you need to get Mama over to your place to come on over and set it up for you.
Yeah, I just have to say it's like it's a very cool technology. And just the fact it exists, I'm like, man, can you imagine? I mean, like 20 years ago, I mean, I was quilting 20 years ago, not the way I do today, but I could not imagine, first of all, just being, getting online like this. I just that would have never crossed my mind. And then just the fact that there is technology that exists, like, you can hook some cameras up to a platform and then just be like, okay, let's move over here. And I'm doing the sewing. And it's like, okay. And we are not production people. We are not working for, NBC or HGTV. We are just people in our
Mm-hmm.
house with our sewing machines. And I think that is so cool.
I remember when YouTube first came out and it was this big deal. I remember their whole big ad campaign was broadcast yourself.
Hmm. Yeah. And it took me a while to be okay with that. But
Now you're
oh,
super
that's
duper
awesome.
okay with it.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I've really gotten used to it, and it was really intimidating. I have to admit, it was very intimidating at first. Um, but then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, thank you for the tip, by the way, Mama. I'll have to check that out. Um, I just remember thinking like, oh my gosh, anybody could be on the other end watching me. And then I think some of the jobs I've had, like I did customer service training for the cruise industry for a number of years. And I had people walking into my classroom I'd never met before. I'd have a class of like 30 people I had to teach hospitality stuff to. And I didn't know them. I'd walk into class and just be like, and who knows what they thought of me. And so I'm like, well, then how is this any different? I just can't necessarily see the people on the other end going like, and that's actually better than being in a
I know.
classroom full of people that are like,
No, I totally agree. Like I think I when watching Mary start to stream and her constantly be like, "Oh my God, what do I look okay? Do I this?" And I'd be like, "You look gorgeous." And then I was like, God, I don't know if I could do that. I'd be like worried about how I look all the time. And then I'm like, you know what? I don't care.
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, I
care.
I do. I show up, no makeup, take me as I am.
Yeah,
If
I
you
don't.
if
And,
you
well,
need to watch,
and
yeah.
then it's funny because you realize pretty quickly that like nobody cares.
Hmm. If you're here to look at me, then you obviously don't care about quilts because I'm here to talk about quilts. And if the way I look is problematic to you, you're obviously not here for the quilts because that's what I'm here for. So
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what?
I
How freeing to just be like, I don't care. Well, like the day that you were sick, and I was like, maybe I could do a pop-up stream then to like keep, people entertained. And then I was like, I look like a wet roving dog. And then I was like, we're gonna look at who cares? And you know what? Nobody noticed.
Mhm. And see, you and I know talked a little bit about, our the like archives and stuff or streaming directly to YouTube. And I've always been like, ooh, I like Twitch better. And I think it's the chance that there are going to be comments. And like a Twitch video, even in video on demand, you only have your chat. You don't have those post comments. And I think it's the post comments where I'm afraid of people going like, ew, wear some makeup, do something with your hair, you're ugly. And I'm like, again, I don't necessarily care what other people think of me, but like that does start to like that starts to hurt your feelings. So that's kind of where I'm.
Well, luckily, number one, we've never come across that. Yes, Eva, there
No,
was a
no.
stranger behind me. Eva was like, stranger danger. That was Sunday, who's fuzzy mane that you saw trolling earlier. He's going off to visit somebody. And he was letting me know because I don't currently have a car here. It's in the shop, getting ridiculously expensive work done after I brought it in just for some headlights and an oil change because I always put my car in the shop before I go on a major road trip. And when I say major, I mean like more than one state away. Because next Thursday is when Steph and I leave to meet up in Pennsylvania. And I literally am like, I needed headlights, I needed some brake lights, and I need an oil change. They call me back, and I do trust these people. They've been a family mechanic for decades. They call me back and they're like, I have terrible news. Like, you need this and you need this. And my car is 10 years old. And I was just like, oh. And it's like just a knife to the heart because one of the things we're going to Pennsylvania to do is shop, and it's so amazing, and it cuts into the budget, and I'm very sad.
Well, yeah, that is the stinky thing about cars, you know. Have a good
But what
stream
I was
though.
gonna say before Eva mentioned that, the nice thing is we haven't had, knock on wood, any rude people on any of our Facebook, YouTube stuff yet. And even if we did, we have a pretty solid contingent of followers that would probably put those people in their place immediately.
We do. And we also
So
have some
that's
amazing mods. We have like the quote unquote official Twitch mods. Then we have our unofficial best people in the world, like mods that like just come and keep the peace and are, you know,
and just
some of our
and
besties.
just help out. I haven't seen Robin today, but like Robin's definitely one of those people. And then
Yeah,
we have,
Robin is one of them.
Eva
Yeah.
and Druid, and we have a
Yeah.
good
And I
clubhouse
am
here.
so grateful for that. And that they help us out. And I mean, like through, just out of the goodness of their heart. I so appreciate that. And yeah, we haven't had issues. But as we try to grow this thing and find more quilty friends for you guys, yeah, there's always that, that you worry about. So, well,
Did you see Eva's comment? Me, I balance being a mod and a bad influence by frame. Thanks,
yeah,
Eva.
Eva,
You're a woman after my
I've
own
always
heart.
said that Eva's the mod that has like sits on your shoulder and she's like, I'm gonna do a shout out because I'm a good mod. Buy things, spend all your money. Like the good Eva and the bad Eva.
What would you consider? Because I don't know that I often see that stuff on auction, and I don't know that I notice it much when I'm out like a Brimfield. What would you consider to be a good price on that cool frame?
I don't even know. I mean, I always feel like when that kind of thing is almost like, and I'm thinking Mama as a fan is watching it because I bet that's her question. I wonder how much these go for.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we could obviously do some research and like find out kind of an average price thing. And I feel like the kind that would have suspended from the ceiling, those older ones, would probably go for more. Um,
well,
but
I mean,
I don't
again, it's
know.
an old thing. It's like the quote unquote modern quilt frames, the ones that have like the wooden ratchets, all that kind of stuff that I think are selling like I know Quilters Newsletter magazine was selling them like, in the 70s and they were handcrafted and beautiful things. Like I could see those things going for like a mint because they're, it's a more advanced contraption and
Hmm.
you spend a decent amount of money on those. But yeah, something that's made homemade, like I don't know. I mean, it's almost like it's beauty in the eye of the beholder kind of thing. And, like not necessarily it's not about affording it's like can you go get this thing with its 90 some inch long rails, that's almost like more what it's about is you know
Yeah, so I
so
think without doing any research, I feel like depending on quality and age and wear and tear, I think I generally would think like I would probably pay around like 200 for one. Like what the kind we're looking at right now.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I've never really looked because I've never really considered it because it is obviously a cumbersome item. And I
Yeah.
just don't know that I'm ever paying attention to them. I should, I mean, Brimfield is in May.
Mhm.
So I feel like maybe I should try to, you almost have to like consider the items you'd be looking for at Brimfield before you go, because otherwise you can't
Yeah.
consider every item you look at. Your brain would explode in like
And do
15
you
minutes.
see in this 2 hours of me being the person who was screen sharing this auction, I looked at as many non-quilt items as quilt items. That is why I'm like kid in the candy store because I don't buy things for the purpose of reselling them. So I don't have that like inventory building mentality. I
But I'm
have the
doing
like,
both.
I know, but I think like even as a collector, I think you still have that like what is the value of this item? And you have a little bit more of discernment where I'm like, I could get this 5 foot alligator for $10. Heck yeah. I just
I
don't
mean,
have
that's a
those
little bit
limits.
of a hoarder mentality. And the whole like,
Look,
I love a deal.
yeah. I mean, I just things that delight me, if they're affordable, I can't help myself.
Oh my.
And hey, I do not have like 300 Christmas edition Barbies off of QVC.
You're like, I only have 200.
Um,
Well, maybe your butt should roll on up here for Brimfield in May. It's like the biggest show of the year, and it's the nicest show of the year because it's not hot yet.
yeah, I know you've been trying to lure me up there. Well, I still have to say we'll see. Because May is the big birthday month of my family. We've got September and we've got May. So we'll have to see. But so okay, so Eva's thought process on this. Would you be willing to drive to get it? Well, it would be me driving. What is the minimum bid for owning it? That would be Jill's decision. Because I don't want to own this quilt frame.
No, no, no. You need to own the quill frame.
Where am I gonna
You're gonna take
my
down the, well,
attic?
keep in mind,
My
this one
attic.
is a part. This one is a part.
Mhm.
It's not all set up.
And what am I gonna do with it?
You're gonna set it up and we're gonna have a Uncle Eli's quilting party.
The reason why, okay, the modern frame that I have, it's a Grace frame. So,
It's a what?
it's metal. A great Grace, the company Grace.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they make modern quilt frames and it's
Mm-hmm.
metal. Um, I only have it set up for the double bed or the like double bed like I can't put a queen size on it because I don't have the queen size extension on it. That's
Mm-hmm.
as big as the room is. I don't have the room to put a queen size extension
Eva
on
has
it. So
already solved your problem. She said to make your mom take it.
mom's house, duh. Well, the other thing is, so those are 96-inch rails. So I'm doing like the mental calculations in my head. I think even though I do drive I have a station wagon, I'm picturing like having to angle them so
Into the
that,
front seat.
and maybe out the window, depending. So like I have had to buy things like that, like trim or
Just
crown
have your
molding.
mom come up a day early next week and have her go get it in her big honkin' car.
Okay, you can talk to Mother Cake and work all that out.
You know she's immediately just gonna be like, yes, my dear, anything you want. My lovely girls.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on, the timeline works out perfectly, and then she can take it home with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can have an Uncle Eli's quilting party.
And I know my mother will also say, okay, I will take this quilt frame home for you and Jill, and then you, Stephanie, have to come get the coat rack, the Oriental quilt, the dresser, all the other stuff she's storing for me.
Why is she storing a dresser?
Because Connor was supposed to move out and I was going to put new furniture in his room.
Oh, mm-hmm.
It was stuff when my grandmother died, I was like,
Gotcha.
I claimed a set of stuff furniture and I
Well, you
haven't
know
been able to
what?
move it
I
in.
feel
So
like, and Mama Cake, if you're watching, love you. But she doesn't get to complain what she's storing. You're the one that has to deal with it when she's gone. The only reason to downsize ahead of time would be to be like, I don't want to leave this burden for my children. But like, if you've created the burden yourself, what does it matter? Pack
but
it in there. Pack it in.
I've already created such a burden for myself by like peer pressuring my mother. She's like, "Oh, look, Jill has this quilt on her Instagram. I really like it." And I'm like, "Oh, buy it, mom, buy it." Or better
Actually,
yet, "Hey mom, look at this quilt that Jill has on her Instagram."
actually, I did that to her last time when we were doing the AQSG vendor mall winter seminar sale thing. I was like, "Hey, this quilt is 20% off. Hey." Hello. I mean, she did get a really cool one. That orangey one's really cool. I was actually kind of sad to see it go. And then I was like, well, it's going somewhere. I can visit it. That's okay.
But it's really funny. She was talking about that quilt the other day. So, oh, bye, Eva. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, I'm gonna try to do a raid. I'm not sure if I can or not, but we'll try. Um, so yeah, that particular quilt, she says to me the other day, she goes like, I really don't even like cheddar.
That
It's a,
blue is definitely not cheddar. The back kind of is
maybe,
a cheddary, but the
yeah, maybe
blue,
I'm thinking,
orange.
maybe I've got a different quilt in mind. But anyway, but she's like, but it's so striking looking, and I'm really glad I bought it. But I'm like, my mother is as bad as I am. She's like the, kid in the candy store kind. She's a little bit more
It's
discerning though.
the orange on the front of that is kind of like electric-y, and then it
Mm,
has like a border that I would say is more cheddary, and then the backing is like what's the cheddary-ish, but it's just very striking.
hmm Yeah.
You just don't see a lot of orangey quilts. At least I don't yet. I don't know. When you get
Yeah.
when you're like a Mary Kay and some of these other ladies that have literally seen thousands of quilts, yeah.
Yeah. My mom has seen a lot of quilts. Yeah, I have to give her credit for that. She knows a few things. So
And we're gonna see a lot of quilts next week.
I know. Do you think we'll be able to do any filming at the quilt show? Do you think anybody will give us grief?
I don't know that anyone would really notice if you're doing with your phone, because like lots of people are taking pictures
Hmm Well,
and
and I like to put things on the gimbal just so that, it's not ooh, ooh, ooh. I guess at quilt shows I've kind of taken the attitude of ask for forgiveness and not for permission. When I was at
though you
QuiltCon,
might, I mean, someone might say something to you if you're using your gimbal, because that's really obvious.
oh, exactly, that's the point. So anyway,
But if you had
I
your
don't know. I
phone and you were taking pictures of a quilt and then like you took a video that kind of scanned, I don't know that anyone would notice or say anything about that. At the bare minimum, we can definitely take quilt photos. Because
we're gonna try to do
otherwise,
some. We're
yeah,
gonna
I guess
try
it
it.
depends on what they even have. I don't even know what they have there. I've never even been to the show. I don't
Well, and
think people
see,
would care to see video of the vendor mall.
well, and that's the thing. I think vendors often are a little bit more like, yeah, don't you can't take pictures of my samples because I mean,
Hmm.
essentially they're trying to sell patterns and I mean, let's get real here. We're all quilters. We all know we've seen a thing and we've been like, I can make that myself.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of people that'll be like, I am not spending $10 on your pattern. I'm going to take a picture of everything and then figure it out on my own. And I mean, yeah, we certainly can do that, but it's cruddy to do that if somebody has put a
Hmm.
lot of effort into it and you should buy
Hmm.
their pattern.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, I get that. But I feel like with the quilt show, I mean, if I had my quilt in a quilt show, I would be very happy about people that are coming in to take pictures and film because that means my name gets out there, assuming that they're crediting me. That's very important. If you're going to quilt shows, credit people if you take pictures. Um, oh, Patty, I would ask first. Most places don't mind, and if they do, they'll say something or post signs. Yeah, I know. I have been to shows where they have signs posted, like no photography, and yeah. So
Oh yeah,
we'll
that's
see.
it.
We'll
Yeah,
play
I
it by ear.
mean, totally right. They could have
Yeah, we'll play it by ear. Yeah. I
if
mean,
they
if they
have
have
if they
signs,
have
oh
things
yeah.
posted that say no photography, then we have to abide by that. I will say like the one thing that's a bummer is so I talked about Brimfield right before the day before Brimfield starts. There's a show called the Sturbridge Show, which is a textile show. So there's a lot of quilts there. It's a lot of vintage antique clothing and things. They are I've never ever seen this at a show. Like they are so strict about no photos. Like
And
it's
that's
a
so strange to
big
me.
deal. Well, it's funny because I was in a booth looking at a quilt or a quilt top, and I had asked them once, I'm just curious as to why. Like I'm not arguing, I'm just curious because for people like me, going there shopping for clients,
Hmm
not
Yeah.
being able to take a photo of something, for a client is can be a bummer. And the person kind of told me like, um, if you're in a vendor's booth and you ask them, can I snap a pic to send to a client? They're like more likely like they're gonna be like that's cool. And I've done that like a vendor has been like, go ahead and snap a picture. I'm like, are you sure I don't want to get kicked out? But what they don't want to happen, they do post some video themselves on their social medias. Especially they love to do it when the crowds come in because there's this big line outside.
hmm
Um, but I guess for one, it's a security thing. Like they don't necessarily want people to know ahead of time what's sitting. I don't know. Um,
Hmm.
and they have a ton of vendors in there. Like it's a big show. And but it
Yeah, I mean, I
stinks
just go back to
because
the fact that like,
well, it stinks because I'm like, I could be walking through here and mention these vendors in here. And literally, because it's a 1 day sale. That's it. And be mentioning the vendors, be showing kind of what they have, and you could be drawing more people in, or at least
mhm.
drawing people to that vendor because most of them still vend at other places, and
Yeah. Well, and
connecting
I
people
mean,
with
that's the
that.
thing. I think that is, I mean, this just goes back to I think that a lot of people either have not caught up to the mindset of social media and online streaming and, all the stuff. And I guess just have negative attitudes toward it. But I mean, again, I go back to the fact that if it's a situation that encroaches on your intellectual property, I can understand saying no, no pictures, no video, because this is my booth. These are things I've created. These are my like all that kind of stuff when you're talking about a modern, quilting vendor. But when you're talking about an antique dealer, like, no, I mean, nobody's going to infringe upon your intellectual property. These are old things. And I mean, unless you've got it like something special about your booth that you're like, no, I only want people to see this in person. I could kind of understand, but yeah, I mean, I would think like I would want, even if it's a 1 day thing, but I see your video and I'm like, oh, maybe I can't make it to that show, but I'm gonna track that vendor down because I
Right.
want
I'm
to
gonna
see
be
what
like,
they're.
hey, here's this
It's
video.
like
You see this
free
quilt?
advertising.
Yeah, you see this
Yeah.
quilt at timestamp 324 blah. Do you still have that? Like
Mhm.
that I
Yeah.
have done that. I've watched
Yeah.
videos of people from places and been like, oh, and have gotten stuff. And
Yeah. I
sometimes
mean,
too, I'll
it's
even
free,
like get a
free
deal.
advertising.
Yeah, I'll get a deal on it because they're like, oh my God, I didn't sell this and I wanted to sell it. And then yeah, I don't.
Well, and don't you have, I mean, you as a vendor, as a dealer, I mean, I know you have had situations where people have discovered you in weird ways.
Mhm.
And you've been like, oh my gosh, this quilt I've been trying to sell, or this one I just put up, somebody snapped it up and I have, they came to me through this weird, like, you know, and that's how you have some success. And I know some of the other vendors that do Instagram sales have sort of the same thing that happens to them. So
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I guess in some ways it's that mindset of like, mine, intellectual property. You can't, I want to have control over,
Yeah,
but free
yeah, it could be
advertising.
that. It could be that. Once you kind of release stuff out into the internet world, you don't have control over it any longer, I guess, per
Mhm.
se. Um, so maybe it's kind of just like that fear of the unknown part.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Um,
You don't have a control of the narrative,
but the
you know?
nice thing is that the few people that we've come across so far that have been really nervous about things that we've been able to show what
Mhm.
the positives they're missing out on, we could very quickly, they were very quickly shown some of the positives.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
definitely.
at least
Yeah.
that is a consolation that like just give us an
Yeah.
inch and we'll show you a mile of
Hmm.
positive.
Yeah.
So that's good. The nice
Yeah.
thing too about Brimfield is because it's all open field and stuff. Brimfield, you can record. I actually just put out a little tiny Brimfield video on my business YouTube, which for anyone watching is also JA Antiques and Vintage. It's Brimfield from last year that I was like sitting on. I was like, oh, look at this video. I need to put this up here. And it's just fields upon fields up as 20 fields of tented vendors.
Oh, I
It's
can't
just
snag that because we're
insane.
streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, look at it after. But yeah, you should come up and see all the things.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do want to come because I mean, I think feel like Brimfield. I mean, I found out about Brimfield years and years and years and years ago, and it's always been one of those things like I'll hear it advertised and I'll think, oh, I want to go up there someday and just, behold. So I love antique shows and things. It's just, it hasn't really been until very recently that I've kind of considered the idea of seriously collecting something, and it's quilts and needlework tools. So,
Mhm.
that I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
at
definitely.
least most of it's small stuff.
Yes, yes, needlework tools definitely. And so I am kind of focusing my line of sight on those things when I do get a chance to go to, an antique store or a antique mall or whatever. But I also, again, go back to the fact that I do have that kid in a candy shop, sort of. And I'm likely
Well,
to
you
come
want
home
to
with
go to
5 foot
Brimfield.
alligators.
You want to go to Brimfield while we have the mobility to do all the walking. Because while they do rent scooters there for people that have mobility issues, there is some handicap accessibility, but they're fields,
Yeah.
it's not great walking. The tents are small. You can't get scooters into the tents. And it's
Yeah. Well,
uneven
I can
ground.
I
Like it's
can
not.
say I'm not that old yet. And here we finally have a cat. I promise, cats. This is not the one who was advertised.
That's a big kitty.
Oh, he's a brat. Oh,
Oh my
he
God,
wants
he's
to be
biting
bitey too.
you.
He wants to be bitey. And there you saw his butt.
Yeah, thanks for showing us your butthole. He comes up, look at my fancy butthole.
Ah, Patty, my coworker lives in Springfield and she lives in a log cabin. Oh,
Wow, Patty, you didn't tell me you have a friend that lives in Brimfield. Like, why aren't we going to stay at their house?
what is this cat up to? Yeah,
Looking
he's
like
sniffing the
they're
quilt.
they're plotting
Mhm.
to take down your
Yes,
quilt.
he is dangerous. He will knock things down, climb things. I've caught him trying to climb this, by just and the other cat, she'll come and just be like, "Hi, can I sit on your lap? Thank you." And this one he's bad. He's the baby.
Well, the only thing I can say is if I don't stay around in town, I'm like an hour-ish away from Brimfield. It is a situation where you do have to get up early to get good parking, but then you quit midday and go home and take a nap. Um,
I think that's what you told me last year you did. You went like early.
yeah, if you don't like it's miserable to try to get good parking and it's really busy and then like, around noon it can start to get warm. You get sweaty.
Mhm.
So then you just go early and then around noonish, whenever you want to quit for lunch, you have lunch and then you're like, I'm done. I'm done for the day.
Yeah, I could deal with that. See, look at this. No, sir. No, sir. I caught,
That's a way to get murdered.
yeah, I've caught both of them on, like, I've had a quilt folded on the couch and they'll sleep on them. And I'm like, I can lint brush, obviously I'm not putting like antique quilts. I'm putting like, these kind of, junky quilts, but I've caught them doing one of these, like not making biscuits, but like,
Kneading
yeah. And well, kind of more than,
or
not exactly
scratching.
scratching, but I, claws were being used. And a double knit quilt, as much of a like a quote unquote workhorse as it is, just throw it in the wash, whatever, they pick and they run.
They
Like,
pill really bad.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so, they're great for animals. I would say that these kind of quilts are great for dogs. Don't let your cats touch these quilts because their claws will just like, so
Well, should we call it a day here
I think we should call it a day.
and come back
We're
at
just
10 tomorrow?
chatting about the randoms now.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I guess tomorrow, 10 a.m. Oh, 10 a.m. on a Monday. This is torture.
Well,
Oh, we're
now you
talking
can go do
Eastern
your
time.
taxes.
Great, thanks.
I'm all about spreading the good word here.
Thank you so much. So very much. All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us. Even though we didn't get to see the live auction, we'll see you tomorrow. I guess we'll be back. And
Also known as watch Jill bid on stuff.
I was planning to play cats and quilts in the background. That was what cats and quilts was about.
Hmm.
Playing the game. So yeah, maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Maybe we'll just look at this auction. We'll cross our fingers that Jill is buying fun things and maybe Stephanie's gonna have to pick them up. We'll see.
All right, everybody.
Alrighty,
Thanks
guys.
so much.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye.